We're kicking off today with Raw's opening segment as Seth Rollins and his still unnamed faction started things out, with Paul Heyman claiming that the Empire is striking back as he declared war against enemies such as LA Knight. Knight has been causing issues for Rollins lately, and Heyman guaranteed their issues would reach their peak at Saturday night's main event, where Rollins himself will end up being victorious. Heyman was out to make a statement this week though. He took a shot at his former friend Roman Reigns, claiming that he doesn't have what it takes to challenge Rollins' empire. Heyman stated that the OTC is MIA, which felt like ominous foreshadowing given that SummerSlam is right around the corner, with this promo possibly working as a subtle tease for what's about to come. He then looked to hand the microphone to Rollins until Bron Breakker shockingly snatched it in a rare moment of him standing up for himself, as the youngster made it clear he wants Sami Zayn gone from WWE. It was a sharp and direct promo, with Breakker making it clear he wants to end Zayn's career, and that led to Bronson Reed cutting a rare promo as well. He addressed Jey Uso, pointing out that his brutal attack on Rollins last year earned him respect and a spot within this group. While Breakker speaking up was a surprise, the look of shock and concern on Heyman and Rollins' faces told the entire story. Rollins himself was unusually quiet during this segment, which is rare for him. However, the entire situation was all about pushing the idea that they're growing in confidence and war is being declared on those who are standing against them. However, while the group appears to be on the same page right now, that might not be the case in the long term, as Bodyslam.net's Viper has reported that WWE is already plotting a major betrayal, as the end goal is for Breakker to turn on Rollins. Fans should look for cracks starting to form or moments of tension, which always happens with factions at some point. WWE wants Breakker to be a future main eventer, which could come at Rollins' expense. Heyman has a history of manipulation and cannot be trusted, and Rollins himself might need to remember that. Do you think a Breakker vs. Rollins feud is the right direction? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. After being sent a clear warning by Breakker, Sami Zayn was shown backstage with Jackie Redmond, where he seemed to be overwhelmed rather than worried. Zayn brushed off Karrion Kross and his ongoing rib injury, admitting that he has too much on his plate at the moment to worry about being hurt. However, Scarlett was less than impressed as she stood by listening to everything he had to say. Zayn might have claimed not to be worried about Kross, but he was made to pay for that just moments later when the Harbinger of Doom attacked Sami during his entrance. Kross's violent streak left Zayn in a heap on the aisle as medical personnel had to attend to him, with Adam Pearce attempting to convince Zayn not to wrestle. However, in typical Sami fashion, he dragged himself to the ring to compete. The only problem with that was that his opponent was none other than Breakker himself, who doesn't care about people's issues. Instead, he looked to pick Sami's bones in a bid to finish him off once and for all. Zayn did connect with a big clothesline, which fired up the audience and teased a comeback, yet that never came to fruition. Breakker destroyed his opponent with a brutal spear at ringside and then hit another inside the ring to seal the victory. It was a hot opening to the show and proved to be a segment that worked on multiple levels. It pushed Zayn as the ultimate underdog in WWE, while also allowing Kross to remain one of WWE's resident monsters. On top of that, Breakker was able to keep looking dominant as he continues his journey up the ladder in WWE toward the main event scene. The question remains whether Zayn will eventually give way to the dark side and stop resisting the temptations put in front of him as the mounting pressure looms from both Rollins' group and Kross. Kross has been pushing it on him for a long time now, and at this point, it's becoming almost impossible for the beloved wrestler to ignore it. Kross might have made a big statement with his attack on Zayn, and most fans thought he might be done after that, but they would be wrong. He and Scarlett turned up during a commercial break for an unscripted moment. Despite attacking a beloved superstar, he was showered with "We Want Kross" chants as the WWE Universe continued to showcase their support for the former NXT champion. Kross remained in character though, claiming that he's the devil you know, as Sami is the devil you don't, as he continues to push the idea that Zayn has a darker side that is being hidden deep within. Kross and Scarlett then shared a passionate kiss live in front of the audience to end the untelevised segment with a bang, as it was made clear the issues between him and Zayn were far from over. Kross and Scarlett are pushing the idea that there is a darker edge to Zayn, and they refuse to give up on the idea despite Kross's defeat at Night of Champions. Interestingly, the further Kross pushes this issue, the more popular he appears to be getting, with the WWE Universe truly admiring him right now. The more twisted he becomes, the more admiration grows among fans. Kross is a dangerous individual, and that's only becoming clearer as the WWE Universe starts to rally behind him, proving that this is just the beginning of what's to come. This week's episode of Raw also saw the long-awaited return of Goldberg, who made his first appearance since challenging Gunther back on June 16th as he looked to build the story toward his retirement match this weekend at Saturday night's main event. Gunther kicked things off by continuing to trash talk the Hall of Famer, pointing out that he'd been destroying him on the microphone for weeks, with Goldberg not providing any response. However, that wasn't the case this week. Goldberg made his emphatic entrance, storming to the ring and smashing the microphone out of Gunther's hand. Goldberg wasn't in the mood for talking as he hit the champion and knocked him down. However, Gunther escaped the ring before being nailed by a spear, setting the tension for their title match. Due to the stakes involved, this one is very exciting, although there was a very worrying sign in this segment. Goldberg was once again seen limping on his way to the ring, adding to the concern that fans have about whether or not the legendary wrestler will be healthy enough to compete. Enjoying the video? A quick like goes a long way in helping us grow and deliver more wrestling news you care about. El Grande Americano returned to the ring this week to face Dragon Lee in an impressive singles match as the two men went back and forth to engage fans. Lee seemed to be in control after launching himself over the top rope, yet the controversial wrestler responded by loading up his mask with his trademark metal plate to get a win after a headbutt. It was obviously Ludwig Kaiser competing under the mask this time around, as his style doesn't necessarily blend as nicely with the luchadors as Gable's did, which will take some time to get used to. With two wrestlers having now portrayed this gimmick, Michael Cole and Corey Graves spoke about the iconic storyline that featured multiple Undertakers, which was a fun throwback moment. With that throwback in mind, is WWE now setting the stage for a similar angle, this time with El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano? Could we be headed toward a showdown between two versions of the same masked identity? Bronson Reed was out to make a statement this week when he faced Jey Uso. He didn't just want to defeat the former Bloodline star, Reed wanted to destroy him. That was clear when Reed decided to use a chair to beat Uso down, even though it resulted in a disqualification. Reed continued the beatdown after the match, nailing several tsunamis as Uso had to be assisted to the back. It was another example of Rollins' group dominating the night, proving that their words at the start of the show were more than just a warning, they were legitimate spoilers for what was to come. Zayn and Uso had to be helped to the back after their matches, with the heels being made to look incredibly strong on this episode. It's clear that both men are set to be out of action for a while, as the impact of this week is sold moving forward. However, fans will only accept that as long as there's an indication that the babyfaces will eventually overcome them. CM Punk and Roman Reigns could play a key role in making that happen, although this does feel like an opportunity to make a brand new main event star. Uso being helped to the back did lead to fans getting a rare glimpse at former WWE superstar Jason Jordan, who was one of the producers who aided him. Jordan hasn't wrestled since January 28, 2018, which was 2,717 days ago. In the main event, fans were treated to a first ever match between Seth Rollins and Penta, which was an electric and competitive match that allowed both men to look brilliant. Penta was able to hit the Mexican Destroyer to stun Rollins, although a headbutt and a stomp ended up giving Rollins the win in this one. Heyman then demanded that Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed hit the ring as they aimed to destroy another wrestler in a bid to rid WWE of their enemies. However, this time, LA Knight appeared out of nowhere and took out Rollins with a blunt force trauma. Breakker tried to chase him, but he ended up stuck upside down on the barricade, creating a hilarious botch. Knight was the man who stood tall to end the show before Saturday night's main event. It was a strong main event, although the finish left a lot to be desired because it was not clean. That means WWE can revisit this one down the line. Knight looked like a huge star, and WWE is getting the best out of him right now. However, seeing him dominate this moment is likely a sign that he will not pick up a win at Saturday night's main event when it matters the most. Usually, whoever has the upper hand after the go-home episode loses at the premium live event. However, WWE could always throw out a surprise twist by having Roman Reigns return to cost Rollins and give Knight another big moment. In the women's division, Kairi Sane was in singles action against Roxanne Perez, and it was the Pirate who gained a surprise win despite interference from the Judgment Day's Raquel Rodriguez. Sane reversed Pop Rocks into a pinfall to clinch the win from the jaws of defeat, although the Judgment Day pair were left laughing after they beat her down after the bell. Fortunately for Sane, her former stablemate Asuka was on hand to help her as she hit the ring to make the save. However, she was almost cut off by a Tejana bomb until Sane got back up and helped her as the Kabuki Warriors embraced each other. Sane and Asuka cemented their desire to be a team again later in the night when they were shown asking Pierce to be inserted into the women's tag team title match at Evolution to represent the Raw brand in the Fatal 4-Way. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss will be SmackDown's representatives, while Zarya and Sol Ruca will fight on NXT's behalf. Now the Kabuki Warriors will attempt to claim the gold when they step up and fight, as they have rounded out this match. However, it's unclear why Zarya and Sol Ruca were added to the match, especially after losing to Izzy and Tatum on NXT this past week. The singles bout between Zayn and Perez was as good as people would have expected, given their talent. However, Perez suffering another loss already in her main roster career wasn't necessary, as WWE needs to start protecting her. Zayn continues to get over with the fans, though, as she remains one of the most popular members of the WWE roster since her return from injury. Elsewhere, the mystery of what is going to happen with Nikki Bella at Evolution was finally answered, as the Hall of Famer appeared in a video package to announce herself as a participant in the Battle Royal at the upcoming Premium Live event. Nikki spoke about her attempt to return last month when Liv Morgan attacked her. However, she made it clear that moment reignited her fire and desire to compete again in a bid to prove something. Nikki is hoping for redemption and to add another moment to her legendary career to define her legacy, and it'll now remain to be seen whether or not she can achieve that. She admitted to being aware of the competition, as the video package showed some big names. However, Nikki claimed she wanted a title shot at Clash in Paris and clarified that she would prove why being fearless is still what defines her. It was a good promo from Nikki, who has had a rocky road to her comeback. She was initially set to team with Brie Bella against Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez at Evolution until Morgan got hurt, forcing plans to change. There was confusion backstage among Ivy Nile and the Creed brothers as they asked about El Grande Americano returning, given that Chad Gable is out injured. However, Nile also took the time to ask about being in the Battle Royal at Evolution, which Pierce accepted. Another wrestler who will be at Evolution is Becky Lynch. She's set to defend her Women's Intercontinental title against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria in what promises to be one of the biggest matches of the night. Lynch expressed her frustration at that idea, only to be interrupted by both of her contenders, who ended up taking shots at each other, much to Lynch's pleasure, as she pushed them both to keep going. They both expressed their desire to win the gold this weekend, as Valkyria said, "I have to rescue that title from two massive disappointments in the Four Horsewomen stars." That's something Bayley didn't take kindly to, as she fired back by saying, "You raised her hand like a little," in reference to Valkyria's behavior at Money in the Bank. Eventually, a brawl began as Valkyria came out on top and left the two more established stars lying in the ring, as she got to stand tall to end the segment. Fans are looking forward to this match, as the build has been impressive. However, a few more lines in this promo segment wouldn't have hurt, as the story wasn't advanced here. Valkyria getting the spotlight was a big moment for her, as WWE continues to push the new main roster star, helping to establish her even more, although she is the most likely to eat the pinfall in the title match. In an interesting situation before the show, Lynch broke character as she helped a fan who had fallen out of her wheelchair. Lynch showed her human side, instantly running to her aid to try and help the situation, pulling the gate aside to get the fan back up. It might not have been an action that complimented what she's doing on camera right now, but it was the right thing to do in the moment. WWE hyped up the main event for Evolution on Sunday. Although it took 90 minutes of Raw to make that happen, it was also rather underwhelmingly just a video package highlighting their history and Io Sky's impressive record against Rhea Ripley. Dominic Mysterio's issues with AJ Styles continued this week, as the Phenomenal One sent him a cake. It was another example of mind games being played, as Styles sat and tormented Dirty Dom from the sidelines, with the veteran continuing to stalk him as he awaits Mysterio being given the green light to compete again by the Doctor. The New Day might have dominated the tag team division, but they were mourning this week after losing their titles during the last episode of Monday Night Raw. They claim that the tag team division is dead, while mentioning that they want a rematch. It was an over-the-top segment, as is often the case with this pair, but it made it clear they're not done with the titles just yet. The Judgment Day is in a new place right now without Liv Morgan, although she was mentioned in a segment featuring the group, as Roxanne Perez made a eulogy for her, which left Raquel Rodriguez stunned, as she pointed out her former partner is very much alive. Perez attempted to convince Rodriguez of her thoughts, which worked as a subtle hint that Morgan might be kicked out of this group whenever she returns. It was another big win for Finn Balor, who has been the mastermind behind the entire thing, as he's subtly gotten exactly what he wanted. WWE also confirmed that Jelly Roll will appear on SmackDown this week, which could make it an important part of the show. Reports have claimed that the musician is expected to be involved in something heading into SummerSlam, and that's expected to start with this appearance. Whether it leads to a special segment, a ringside role, or even an in-ring debut, fans are already buzzing. Could Jelly Roll be stepping out into the ring for the first time? We'll find out soon enough. How did you find Monday Night Raw this week? Did it do a good job of building towards Saturday night's main event and Evolution? Sound off in the comments below. We're ending with some heartbreaking news, as unfortunately the wrestling world has been rocked with some unfortunate news this week, as Antoine Long, the son of Teddy Long, has passed away. Family and friends of Antoine shared the news over the weekend, which shocked people as he was active on social media just days ago. There are no details about his age or the cause of death at this time, and the former SmackDown general manager has yet to make any public statement. We want to extend our heartfelt condolences to the Long family at this time. Please share your messages of support in the comments.